You hungry? Well, I'm hungry. You like baseball? Well, I love that shit. Want a slice of pizza? Go to New York. You want hot weather? Come to LA. You want to break bread? Call Nick Turturro. Ready, motherfucker? Are you ready? Well, I'm fucking ready. Get ready! Yeah! Here we are. Breaking bread. First show with Nick Turturro and his son, Nick, in the wings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Salute. How are you? Been talking about this, thinking about it, dreaming about it. Been messing around with baseball, talking passionately with fans on Twitter, talking baseball all my life. It is my life. It's a big part of my life. And people have been like, well, where you been? How come you don't do something with baseball? How come you don't, you did I Breed Baseball years ago for MLB. You did something for MLB.com. You just shot a promo for the Yankees. You did something for Fox, but now I'm ready to do this full time, bro. I'm here. I'm here with not just a podcast, but a full-blown show to blow your fucking mind. All right? That's what breaking bread is. That's what we do. We got the prosciutto. We got the meatballs over here and the spaghetti. Spaghetti's all right. We got the bread, the wine. We got baseball. All right? Like I say, the greatest game in the world. And I'll tell you why. Because, like in life, it's all about getting to first base. Right? Everybody wants it. Everybody wants to make it in this town, showbiz. But you got to get to first base. Until you get to first base. All right, now you got a hit. Now you're in action. Now you're in play. Then maybe you steal a base, right? You steal a fucking base and you get to second. What does that mean? That means you're in scoring position. That means you got a shot. All right? You go out on a date with a girl. You're feeling her up and all this stuff. You're trying to get to third base. You're trying to get the pants. Yeah, I mean, it's a little sexual, but it's all relative. And then you want to get home. Everybody wants to come home. Everybody wants to hit a home run, but we don't. But we want to get home. And that's what this is. This is all about the journey. This is all about, what it takes to make it in life and in baseball. You know what I mean? Because that's why it's such an interesting game, because there's moments in this game that you can remember that are part of your life that you never forget. So I say, hey, you know what? Let's break bread together every week. We got the food, we got the bread, we got the game. So here we are. Welcome. Nick Turturro. Who am I? What am I? I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy from Queens. I'm just a kid from Queens. A regular guy who got into show business, who was a doorman for 10 years, the St. Moritz on the Park. Started acting in my late 20s. Met Spike Lee when I was a young kid, screaming all kinds of obscenities, doing this voiceover work for Do the Right Thing. The guy put me in a movie, changed my life. And then I started pursuing acting. And then I became a part-time, then a full-time actor when I got on NYPD Blue. But Nick Turturro has always been a huge sports fan and became a baseball fanatic. In the early 70s, 1973, a friend of mine, Julius Pacheco, who was with we were with the Boy Scouts of America, took me to the Bronx. I think the first game I ever went to was in Flushing with the Mets. But he took me to the Bronx, and my whole life, I was like, wow, this is it. I fell in love, you know what I mean? And the Yankees weren't even that great then. I mean, they had Bobby Mercer, Thurman Munson, Roy White, but there was something about the stadium, the smell. I remember I went that year, a bunch of games. I went bat day, I got a bat. You get your favorite player. It was a Thurman Munson or Roy White. Then it was ball day. One day I went there, had a stiff neck. And some guy attacked me, tried to jump me. And my friend Pacheco, he threw him in a garbage can. Threw the guy right in the garbage can. I woke up with a stiff neck, and I still had to go to the doubleheader. I don't know what that was. I used to wake up with things years ago. I woke up with the mumps. One time, my jaws were swollen. Always was waking up with a lot of ailments.
You have a lot of problems?
I have a few problems. I've had problems my whole life. I mean, it just follows me. I can't help it. People say I'm a hypochondriac. I probably am, but I do have, I always have issues. I've had health issues. I have, I probably have a few mental issues too, but I was always a kid, very nervous kid. I was afraid of a lot of things. I was afraid of heights. I went to a Met game.
What's there to be afraid about?
I was afraid. I was afraid of heights, and I was screaming. I was in the mezzanine. I told my friends, take me down, take me down. I thought I was going to blow off Shea Stadium. I didn't like heights. It took me a while to get over. I faced my fears, even airplanes. I used to get on airplanes and almost want to jump off. I literally, I had a hard time flying. I didn't know if I could be an actor because I didn't like flying. I don't like not being in control. I'm always thinking that, something bad is going to happen. I always think I'm going to die of some kind of dreaded disease. I mean, I've been like that my whole life. But fear is what keeps me, it's what keeps me going. You know what I mean? Fear is, I need some fear, but I can't let it consume me to where I can't function. Anyway, where was I? Anyway, what I was talking about was, hey, I became a great hardcore Yankee fan since 1973. Then the Yankee Stadium closed. They refurbished that stadium. They went to Shea Stadium, 74, 75. They traded Mercer in 74 for Bobby Bonds in 75. And then I fell in love with Bobby Bonds. We only had him 1 year. Then they traded Bobby Bonds for Ed Figueroa and Mickey Rivers, which was like two influential ball players that helped the Yankees kind of get back to where they needed to get back in 76 when they reopened the refurbished stadium, and they won the pennant that year in 1976, which was a magical year. They hired Billy Martin in 75, and 76 was when they beat the Royals in that 5-game series. They hadn't won a pennant for 12 years, and I was at the winning game, Game 5. I jumped on the field after Chris Chambliss hit the home run. I ran. I grabbed some grass right out of the field. I was running with the grass. The cops were chasing me. And then I took it home. I planted in my backyard. I actually had Yankee sod planted in my backyard. And then that's when, it all became, I started, because the next year, Reggie had 3 home runs. I was at that game with this guy, Mike Badalucco. Jumped on the field that year, too. 78, they actually won it in 78. But they won it on the road. They won it in L.A. They were down 0-2, and then they won 3 in a row in New York. Nettles made all those great plays. Greg Nettles. Of course, you don't know who I'm talking about. I say last names like everybody knows. Nettles. People don't know who Greg Nettles. A lot of people that might say Nettles are like, well, who's Nettles? He's Greg Nettles. He was a vacuum cleaner. He was like, he was almost like the second coming of Brooks Robinson. He really was a great, the guy saved 1 million runs. Tommy Lasorda blew his mind. Tommy Lasorda, anyway. But anyway, to make a long story short, Nick Turturro is a hardcore, fanatical, educated baseball fan, purist. I have no agenda. My agenda is the game, and that's who I am.
Now, there's some contradiction to you. You're from Queens, but you're not a Met fan, you're a Yankee fan. Now, is that like sacrilegious or something? I don't understand how that works.
Well, a lot of people said, how did you become a Yankee fan? Right, you grew up around all these Met fans, these Irish Met fans, I used to call them. A lot of them were like, how did you become a Yankee fan? But it just happened, and then I would argue with them. I'd go to battle with these guys. But I think you're just born. You're born. You come out. You know who. You know what you are. You know what I mean? You can look at a guy's face. I could say he's a Met fan. He's a Red Sox fan. You just have that face. I could look at myself and go, I know I'm a Yankee fan. I look at me physically, and I'm like, I just know. But by the way I look, I can tell you what you are. I can almost tell you. You're a Minnesota Twin fan. You're a Cub. I could tell a Cub. I just understand the look of Jet fans, versus Yankee fans versus Giant fans. We have a different feel. We have a different look. So it just happened, and you got to pick a side. You can't be like, I root for everybody. That's not cutting it in New York. That doesn't cut it.
So, into baseball, we're in the age of technology, nutrition, training. How are all these guys getting hurt? Because back in the day, from what you said, they were much tougher. They played when they were hurt. They played with pain. Now today, you strain your quad, you strain your arm, you're out for 10 days. What's your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of these guys are babied. A lot of these guys are not as hard. They're not as tough as they were years ago. Years ago, Mickey Mantle played his whole career taped up. Guys played with injuries. Guys played through all it. Now these guys, they're soft. You know, I mean, they're not like the guys in the gritty old days. I mean, back then, guys, you know, they dug deep. They really dug deep. And now today, guys are injured left and right. Yeah, it's just like going to the doctor. You go to the doctor for you go to the doctor for your stomach. You go to the doctor for your elbow. You go to the doctor for your eye. You got 50 billion doctors. Years ago, we had one doctor. He saw the whole family, Dr. Cilio. He took $15. He saw the whole freaking family. He took the family in all at one time. Now, everybody's got a specialist. You know, you got a toenail, you got this specialist, that specialist. It's oversaturated, overly done. And now, with all the the health, they got all these things that, should be like, you should be in the greatest shape. Nothing should happen medically. And yet, guys are going down left and right. Guys blow out their arms. I never saw years ago where guys had Tommy John. Now they get the surgery before you even blow out your arm. They were saying, he's going to blow it out anyway. So maybe they know too much. Maybe they think they know more than they do. But sports, even in general, has become so like oversaturated with information. Maybe watered down. That's why these athletes now they're not just athletes anymore. They're like now they're stars. Now they're celebrities. Now they're like actors. And look at LeBron James. He came to Hollywood. Now he's a producer. So what can I tell you? The world is different, my friend. The world is different. I'm just trying to live.
Didn't your eye specialist mess up one of your eyes?
Yeah, somewhat. I still can't find out what happened to my eye. I had a early cataract, so I had one eye done, but I never did the other eye because I've had like a dry eye. I feel like there's an eyelash in my eye. I went to the guy. I said, do you see anything? I don't know. We see a little inflammation. I'm always picking on my eye. I feel like I got two different eyes. One eye looks like blue now. One's a little brown. It's freaking weird. It's driving me nuts because it doesn't feel right. Because, your brain is connected to your eyes. You really need your eyes. And that's really a problem, and I'm like always picking on my eyelash because I have long eyelashes, but I'm like, I can't quite see quick enough, like one eye is not working with the other eye. So I don't even know if I want to do the other eye because I feel like I got this bionic eye that isn't right. And this guy, Davidi, did it, He's like, don't worry, you're fine, you can see. So I'm not fine. I feel like there's something in my eye. Imagine if you're a ball player, you gotta see the ball. Very important that you have good eyesight. That's why I'm a little bit off. I'm a little off because, my eyes aren't like completely, even when I'm acting now. I can see distance, but, I have to read. I have to put on the glasses to read. Then I have to take the glasses off, and I'm always pulling on it. Hopefully there's nothing in there. I don't know. My dad had cataracts, and a guy left part of the cataract in his eye, and then he found out when he did the other cataract that the reason he couldn't see. But that was years ago. They didn't know. The guy actually broke part of the cataract. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult, but I'm very unlucky that way. So, but, what are you going to do?
So, recently in baseball, the disabled list has now been changed to the injured list. And the reason is the league made the change out of concern that the term disabled for injured players falsely conflates disabilities with injuries and inability to participate in sports. You've been watching baseball for 50 years. You're an old guy. What are your thoughts on that? Like, does that change anything for you as far as like looking at it? Like, did you ever look at that term like it was a problem towards disability people?
Disabled list, and they call it the injured list now.
Yeah, they call it the injured list because they don't want to offend anybody with disabilities.
I never thought about it. If you're disabled, on the disabled list, you can't play. You're hurt. That's all. Everybody's got to have the right term. You got to be politically correct. You're hurt. You're hurt. You're disabled. The same shit. I mean, you're injured. I mean, what is the difference? What really is the difference? If you're disabled or you're injured, it's the same shit. You're hurt. You can't play. You're not on the, I don't understand why everything has to be termed, don't say that. You're going to offend somebody like you're in a wheelchair. No, that's different if you're in a wheelchair. But I understand it doesn't sound so nice. So I get it on some level, but it's the same shit. It really is.
All right. Let's go into the favorite team you have, the New York Yankees. They did win today.
Yeah, the day of my opening podcast. You see, when I did my Yankee promo, we won. Today, I break bread. I do Breaking Bread with Nick Turturro. We come back. We smoke the Orioles. What is it, 8-4? Give me the score.
They won
8-4. Nice.
Yep.
Who's the winning pitcher?
I think
Paxton start?
Yeah, he 4 earned over 5 innings.
No, but he pitched in Camden Yards, which is a joke.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
But now let's get to the shitty part. The Yankees injured list right now is half of their starting lineup. Stanton with his biceps. Andujar, torn labrum. CC, his heart.
Wow.
Severino, shoulder.
Whoa.
Betances, shoulder.
Oh, shit.
Aaron Hicks, back.
Oh, my God.
Tulowitzki, calf.
Yeah.
Didi with his elbow. Montgomery with his elbow.
Jesus Christ.
What's going on, big man?
And what the hell? What about Ellsbury? Where is that guy? What I would really like to know is...
Him and Carl Pavano.
Yeah, him and Carl Pavano are hanging out on a fucking beach. They're on a beach in their bikinis right now, these guys. I really want to know what happened to him that was life-threatening. Is he that injured? Or they just put him like in,
I think they put him in hiding.
They put him in hiding.
Take the money.
Take the money. I wish I could get a gig like that. I mean, Severino, people thought he was hurt last year.
Well, he struggled second half.
Yeah, he struggled.
So we need to make sure he's...
you got to be careful with him. They say May, June... You don't know. This guy could be out most of the year. They got to be very careful with this guy. Plus, they gave him a contract. Hicks, another guy who's been hurt left and right. He gets a contract, and boom, 7 years, and he's hurt.
Andujar, look at him.
Andujar, well, he's a young guy. He might be out now. I don't know, labrum.
But if he's out the whole year, that means when Didi comes back, someone's going to have to go to third. Maybe Tulowitzki plays third. You never know.
Well, Tulowitzki's got a calf now. You can't count on Tulowitzki. He's been hurt his whole career. He's a great player. He's been hurt. Tulo has been hurt. They picked up DJ Lemieux. He might be a nice pickup for them. The kid looks like a good baseball player. We'll see if he can play third base. He looks solid over there. I'm more worried about first base because you got Hercules Voit. We haven't seen him for a full season. And Greg Bird, we don't know if, Greg Bird is, he might choke. He's just kind of soft, Greg Bird. If he could only hit, he's got that nice swing, but he might be the second coming of Kevin Moss. You never heard of Kevin Moss, but he was a guy that hit like a zillion home runs, and they thought he was going to be a superstar, and he was a bust.
Kevin Moss.
He was in the 80s. Old time. There's a lot of jokes about Kevin Moss.
Oh.
But he had a nice swing, like this guy Bird.
Greg Bird looks like that actor, Wes Bentley.
Little bit, yeah. He's got a good...
those eyes.
He's got those eyes. He's got a good Hollywood look. If he doesn't make it, he might go to Hollywood. Greg Bird, there's certain guys that could be Hollywood bound. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Wes Bentley. Yeah, put up a picture of Bird. Let's see, but put a beard on Bird. It looks just like Wes Bentley. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's not bad. That's close. There's Bird. Yeah, he's got a nice smile. Colorado. Oh, yeah, they're close. They could be brothers.
Yeah.
Wes Bentley, he was good in that movie, American Beauty.
Yeah.
American Beauty.
He's good in that Zac Efron movie.
He is good in that Zac Efron movie, yeah.
You should work with Wes Bentley.
I should work with him. Yeah. I should work with a lot of guys. But, Betances got the shoulder. CeCe's got the heart. But CeCe, I'm sure CeCe will pitch this year.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, with all these injuries, we're projecting probably a really bad April. Maybe a slow start in May and could pick it up halfway. Now, injuries are always going to happen. Do you prefer them to happen now or at the end of the season? Because it showed last year with the Yankees that Judge gets hurt in the middle of the year and their team was practically screwed for 2 months and they were not the same. And then he comes back and he almost carries them to the ALCS.
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually think that the injuries are better off having them early. Get them out of the way. Get the team healthy. You get Didi back, let's say, in the middle of the season.
They're saying July.
And Didi's a big loss. Hopefully this guy Hicks comes back in June. I don't know about Andujar, but if you can get guys healthy in the middle of the year versus, them being hurt at the end of the year, I think it's much better because the Yankees, they're going to be in the pennant race, but you want a healthy team down the stretch versus, April and May. If you can get the kinks out, as long as they're not devastated. Last year with Judge, they really hurt them, but then he came back miraculously and had a great postseason. But I would prefer that they have the injuries early, even though they might struggle. The Red Sox right now are like 2-5, 2-6. They don't have a closer right now.
Who cares?
But
the Red Sox
who cares? I'm not worried about the Red Sox. The Orioles, they're gonna come back to reality. These teams will come back to reality. The Yankees are gonna be competitive. I'm a little concerned sometimes with this new manager they got, Boone. I'm not completely sold on him. I endorsed him, but I'm not completely sold on that guy yet. But I would say I'd rather have the injuries earlier than late. Earlier.
Troy Tulowitzki is an interesting subject because, we got him at a cheap price. He didn't play last year, but his talent was up there with some, he was an elite player at once. You think it's kind of he's one of those could have been players.
Well, I mean, he obviously had a good career. He could have had a great career, but he's still a really dynamite player when he was healthy. But you could have put him up there, in the Mount Rushmore of shortstops if he had been so healthy, because the guy had power, the guy had good range. He was a bona fide superstar, but I think injuries have kind of altered his career, and it's like what could have been. He's still a terrific talent, but when you can't stay on the field, you can't stay on the field. I mean, there are guys that, they've been hurt half their career, and that's been their Achilles heel. So I would say Tulowitzki, if he was healthy, could have been like a Derek Jeter. Maybe even, who knows? I mean, he had more power probably. But the guy has been hurt by injuries, and that's happened to a lot of great players. Look at Donnie Mattingly. Don Mattingly, for all intents and purposes, is a Hall of Famer. But he had 5 great, dominant years. He wasn't a compiler. Then he hurt his back. You hurt your back, he couldn't drive the ball anymore. He became a singles hitter. But Don Mattingly, if people saw him in his prime, you'd say that's a Hall of Famer. Let me tell you, there are guys that are in the Hall of Fame that are not Hall of Famers. Don Mattingly was a Hall of Famer. Darryl Strawberry, whatever, without the candy, whatever. That's a Hall of Famer, Darryl. That swing, anybody that saw him, Jim Tomei, he's not a Hall of Famer. Good player, not a Hall of Famer. Harold Baines is the guy that put him in the Veterans Committee, not a Hall of Famer. I'll tell you a Hall of Famer. Darryl Strawberry's a Hall of Famer. Don Mattingly was a Hall of Famer. There are guys that are not in the Hall of Fame that are Hall of Famers. These guys now, they want to look at statistics, this and that. I look at, was the guy a great player? Was he that kind of player that when you saw him, you said, I know what I'm watching? He's a very good player. There's a lot of very good players, but they're not Hall of Fame players. There's a whole big debate about the Hall, and now it's become the Hall of, Hall of Shame or whatever, Hall of Mediocrity. I mean, everything's about being mediocre. Everything's about being mediocre today. If you're mediocre, you're almost better off. If you're special, sometimes people go, oh, we don't get you. We don't get how good you are. Because you didn't see the guy. You got to see the guy with your eyes, the eye test, bro. That's what proves what greatness is. You didn't see somebody that was arguing with a guy about, Michael Jordan and LeBron. You never saw Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a thoroughbred. You want to argue boxing. You never saw Joe Frazier, how hard Joe Frazier hit, what Duran was like, because you never saw him. That doesn't mean he's not, guys are bigger, stronger, faster. That doesn't mean better. That doesn't always mean better. So, I'll tell you, when you have greatness, like Tulowitzki, he was a bona fide great player, but now has been slashed because of injuries. It's sad.
Who should be in the Hall of Fame? Let me run down. Barry Bonds, should he be in the Hall of Fame?
Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame because he was a Hall of Famer before he did all the roids and human growth hormones. He should have an asterisk next to his numbers. He shouldn't be the home run king. Either should McGwire or Sosa. Those numbers should be all because they were tainted. But he was a Hall of Famer, skinny Barry Bonds. You look at his first career, his 10 years. He was a Hall of Fame player. You can't take that away from him. So is Clemens. He's a Hall of Famer too, as well as even, A-Rod. A-Rod was a Hall of Fame talent. Are their numbers tainted? Yes. But were they Hall of Famers? I would say in those instances, yes. Now, like a guy like McGwire or Sosa, I wouldn't say those guys were, surefire Hall of Famers. They were very good. But a guy like Bonds, come on, he was as good as Griffey, if not better. And then he got jealous, and he went on the roids the last 5-10 years of his career. But he was a Hall of Famer.
What about Curt Schilling?
Hall of Famer. Come on, you're going to put Mike Mussina, who I love? He's not better than Curt Schilling. There's no way he's better than Curt, because Curt Schilling is hated. He's not in the Hall of Fame. It's not personal. Come on, the guy was the bloody sock. He won with the Diamondbacks. He won with the Red Sox. When a guy wins championships, it's a Hall of Famer. I'll tell you what a Hall of Fame. That's why put me on the committee. These stupid writers, where do they get off the right? They never played. Some of these guys never even played the game. Where do they get a vote? At least I played the game. Little League.
You didn't play Little League. You played
Little League.
Old man's league.
I played Babe Ruth.
I played Little League.
Don't get me mad.
All right, now let's do a little Back to the Future moment. Let's say, you know,
future.
Yeah. If this was 1977 when you were, I don't know, 19, 20, whatever, how old you are, how would George Steinbrenner react if the Yankees started the season like this with their second-year manager and their supposedly World Series contending team? What would George Steinbrenner do back in the day if this was happening then?
Oh, forget it. These guys be gone. They wouldn't last. There's no way they would last. This guy Boone would be gone. Girardi would have been gone years ago. I mean, Steinbrenner was out of his mind. I mean, he would fire guys left and right, trades left and right. I mean, he had to calm down. They had to calm him down. That's how they rebuilt the team. You got to have some patience. But George, forget it, was passionate. He was, he was like one of us. He was a fan, but he was emotional, and he would get very emotional. Guy have a bad start. Guy Jim Beattie have a bad start. He want to trade him. Jay Buhner. Guy strike out, boom, he's gone. He made some bad trades. He made some terrible. Doug Dre back to the Pirates. Dre back to the Mariners. I mean, Jim Beattie. Oh man, he was a little out of control, but he did care. And that's what you loved about George. He did care. These guys today are so corporate. They're so vanilla. I say, like, they open their refrigerator and there's pints of blood in there. They're very vampire-ish. You know, they sleep during the day, and then at night they come out like a vampire. They open up the refrigerator and there's pints of blood in there. There's no soul. There's no soul. See, that's why I want to be the new face of baseball. They're afraid of a guy like me. I don't know why, but, I want to be that guy. I want to be the poster guy for the game because I'm here to help the game, not hurt it. I don't have any agenda. My agenda is to only push enthusiasm.
Bring spice.
And bring spice, right. Bring spice. That's what I bring, color. The game is very bland. They need a guy like me. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this.
How would you bring spice to the game?
How would I bring spice to the game?
Yeah, like specifics.
I'd make it more fan-friendly, okay?
Examples, let's go.
I would let the players and the fans get together. I'd let the fans go on the field after the game. I'd make it more, I wouldn't have the rich from the poor in these box seats you can't get in there. Let the people roam. Let everybody be one. Not like this class situation, like the Yankees have all these rich box seats and they're empty. I told you, put some seat fillers in there. Put people in there, it's a bad look. People are eating steaks and sushi. Bring the game back to a more simple game. We don't care about eating a steak. We just need a good hot dog, a Sabret hot dog with mustard and sauerkraut, and a nice beer.
Not Farmer John.
No, we don't need Farmer John. Get rid of Farmer John. Farmer John should be outlawed. Nathan's I can live with. Forget Farmer John. You need a good, thin dog and a good, crisp, nice, cold beer. Make the game simple. Make it more accessible. Make it more affordable. And make the players more, so we can reach out and touch them. And everybody today, it's divided, and it's so corporate. You can't do this, you can't do that. You can't show emotion. I'm saying make the game fun again, because it is a fun game. It's the kind of game you can go with your son, kind of game you can go with your family. It's a great game. It's the greatest game in the world. It's just that it's gotten they're afraid of, loosening up. Loosen up. That's what they need to do. They need to make it a little more fun again. It's like when you go watch Little League, that's what's fun about it. It's passionate. People are running. I used to coach third. I would run with my runners down the third baseline. I would score with them. I'd push the kid right into home plate. Yeah. That's what I would do.
And it's happening in a lot of sports too. Like, it's not even about it's not about the game anymore. It's just like, oh, it's an event. And like example, when LeBron goes to the Lakers, it became an event. So the tickets were not even affordable for people to go in the upper deck.
Not even special anymore.
It's not.
It's not special. When I was a kid, let me tell you something. When I was a kid, I'd have $10, $15. I'd have a lunch. I'd go to the game, $1.50 seat. I get a helmet, $1.50. I had enough for a Coke and a hot dog and a ticket and a cheap helmet. You see those helmets? Those are from my mother's basement on the wall. $1.50, bro. A's, Red Sox, look at that. Royals, Pirates, $10. I'd see a 29 doubleheader, $10, $15, enough for the subway and a bus. Could you do that today? No. You get a beer, it's $10, $15 for a shitty watered down beer. It's a crime. I don't want to go. I sit and watch it on high def. I got to pay for the high def anyway. I got to pay for my baseball package. Nothing is free. You know, years ago, you went with very little and you had a great time. You had a great experience. And they gave you double headers. You look in the schedule, I would pick out the double headers. 2 for the price of 1. Now, if they have a double header, it's day-night. They charge you twice. They don't have a real double header no more. It's a business. It's a business.
And if they have a doubleheader, it's because they got rained out.
Exactly. They got a stupid rain out, so now they got to do a day-night doubleheader. Why not put a twilight doubleheader? 5:30. Do that once in a while. I'm not saying have beer night like the Indians had years ago and they had a riot. 80,000 people got drunk. I'm not saying do that. That was insane. If you ever seen beer night, that 5-cent beers, people were blasted. They had a riot, man. But that was in the 70s. Billy Martin, the Texas Rangers were fighting with the Indians. It was crazy. People were out of control. They would do shit like that years ago. They'd have beer night. They had disco demolition night, the White Sox. They broke all these disco. I love disco. And they hate my fucking disco. I hated it. It bothered me that they, burned all that in Comiskey. But Bill Veeck was the old owner of the White Sox, and he would do all these crazy things. But some of these things were good. Years ago, they'd have banner day. Fans would come on the field and have, carry their banners around Shea Stadium or Yankees. They'd have banner day. They don't have all these. Even years ago, the bat day was like a real bat. A real bat. Now today, they give you like a fake bat. Everything is fake today. Nothing is real.
Seems like you're stuck in the 70s.
I'm not stuck in the 70s. I'm nostalgic because that's the world I grew up in. And now the world has changed a lot, But I'm not stuck. I still live in the present. I'm still very relevant. I'm still very current. But I don't forget then versus now. I just see there's a big difference. That's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm doing this, because to try to breathe some life back into the old game that I love.
All right, so let's talk about what's going on around the league. Bryce Harper signs the big contract through, over 10 years?
13 years.
13 years, $330 million. Yeah. Absurd. Shows up to Washington, D.C. They don't respond. They don't throw at him. You think old school baseball is dead, where, you betray them and the team really takes it personal? Or, how do you feel about that? I mean, Harper did park it and he flung the bat, but... do you think there should be more hatred towards Harper from the team that he betrayed them?
Yeah, hatred is good. It's good to have hate. I mean, the fact that you have some hate, it creates, some real competition. You need that. That's why the Yankees Red Sox was great years ago, because they actually hated each other. They actually did not like each other. People would fight in the stands. Beer would go flying left and right. You don't see that kind of. It was real. They were true fans, and they had true, animosity with the teams, But the Mets and the Yankees, we hated each other. Fight with the Met fans, Yankees, Red Sox. Out here, you don't find that kind of passion. These boys, he got booed, but I don't know how deep it is, because these guys change teams left and right. They don't last their whole career on one team. Years ago, guys played for one organization. They played for one or two. If they left, it was a major deal when they left. It wasn't such a business. So today, people, they change, they get divorced, they get married 100 times. There's no loyalty today. That's why when a guy lasts with a team, a Cal Ripken or somebody, it's a Derek Jeter, it's rare and it's special. So, Bryce Harper, he's a phony. He could have stayed with the Nationals. They offered him $300. What are these guys giving him $330? Whatever. I don't get it. The same division. It's stupid. But, it is what it is. Trout decided to stay with the Angels, even though the Angels are kind of a soft team. But, he got security. These guys want security. You see all these extensions. They locked up, the Braves locked up Acuna for a lot of years. He's a young guy. They locked him up. And now the Astros locked up my friend Bregman. So these guys are, they want that security. So I get it, but they also control a lot of these young guys. I've heard today that a lot of these guys, they're at the, they can't do anything. They're like tied up for 5 years, 6 years. They're under control. Even a guy like Judge is making the minimum. How could Judge be making a minimum $500,000? The guy's great.
King of New York.
The King of New York. So, I mean, it's just different today. It's not as, these guys today, they walk around, they got their agents, they got this, they got that. They're very political. They're almost like politicians. They're like businessmen, these guys. And I just don't, I don't find them that compelling, that interesting. That's why free agency, years ago when a guy signed, it was a big deal. He got 5 years, or Dave Winfield got 10 years. People lost their minds. Oh, Dave Winfield got 10 years. But it's just different today.
So, Jacob deGrom struck out 14 and he hit a home run. Zach Greinke hit 2 home runs the other day. It's pretty impressive when pitchers can actually hit too. But Jacob deGrom, could he be potentially top 3 pitcher in the league? Do you agree with that?
Oh, Jacob deGrom is dynamite. He's a stud beyond stud. I mean, the other guy, Syndergaard's good, but he's nowhere near Jacob deGrom.
Is he top 3?
He's definitely top 3. In my book, this guy, he's the kind of guy you don't want to face him. He's lights out. To me, he might even be better than Scherzer. He's better than Kershaw. I mean, if the Mets can put any kind of squad on the team, that guy is an ace. That's what you call an ace. And he can hit, too. It's always impressive they can hit. Like the Greinke had 2 home runs. That's why the National League, it's like more of a... Even though I'm an American League fan, the National League is a complete league. Pitchers, they run, they hit. They're complete players. The American League, it's like an old softball league. They have these great hitters. They keep them alive for 1,000 years, and they don't play the field. But deGrom is, man, I wish the Yankees had somebody like him.
So a lot of people are probably going to give you flack for saying he's better than Kershaw. Make that argument. Why is he better than Kershaw? Is it because of Kershaw's playoff performances or just as overall as a pitcher?
I just think he's a more dominant pitcher. I mean, Kershaw's a great pitcher. He's a great regular season pitcher. And for whatever reason, he'll be judged, his legacy will be judged on the fact that he couldn't win in the World Series. He couldn't win big games when he had to. When you're that kind of pitcher like Madison Bumgarner, the reason he gets such props, Mad Bum or whatever they call him, is because he was filthy and won 3 World Championships. In the end, you get judged on. I've seen deGrom in postseason, and he was filthy too. Even back when the Mets, I think it was 16, were in there. And I think he's just a tougher... for some reason, Kershaw comes up soft. He has come up soft and he's had so many chances. I mean, maybe he'll get a token championship somewhere along the line, but for whatever reason, he just hasn't been that guy.
And he's had many opportunities.
He's had a lot of opportunities.
Even when he didn't go to the World Series, there was like maybe 3 or 4 occasions that they probably should have went.
Yeah. I mean, he's had chances to beat that guy. That's why I say Curt Schilling when you say, is he in the Hall of Fame? He should be in the Hall of Fame because he was that guy that, like, maybe even more than Randy Johnson. He was the guy that could take you over the top and you could win a championship. You say Jacob deGrom, he could be that guy. He could be Tom Seaver. He could be, one of these great all-time greats. Madison Bumgarner is going to be in that talk because he did it. He did it in the big moment. Kershaw hasn't. He'll never be Sandy Koufax. He'll never be that. He hasn't been that guy. So that's what the greats get judged on. How many championships you can win. I don't care who you are. If you couldn't get it done in the big moment, you don't get that. You don't get that big, surprise.
And eventually, a lot of these guys who are superstar pitchers, they do win. I mean, David Price finally got over the hump. He had a good team, but he still
it took him 1,000 years. But David Price, it took him 1,000 years.
But he's
a complainer, and he's a crybaby. And he's a weird dude. He's just a moody guy. So, yeah, he had a good team behind him last year. Everything went the Red Sox way. And, it's not going to happen. You watch. Nathan Eovaldi was unhittable, and this guy, that guy. And, yeah, he's had good stuff, and he's had a good career, but he was overpaid severely. Watch him come back to earth this year. That's a contract they'll regret. You watch. They signed him for 1,000 years, and he's been another guy that's never lived up to what he was supposed to be. He can pitch. He can pitch, but he's not that guy. But he did have a few moments last year. I'll give it to him.
Who's a pitcher that scares you in this league? I have this list from the top 10 pitchers, from starter pitchers from FanDuel last year. This is who they chose. If you were a team, exclude the Yankees, but these are the lists: Severino, Aaron Nola, Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, Clayton Kershaw, Corey Kluber, Blake Snell, Chris Sale, Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom. Let's put this situation in. You're in a Game 7. It's your top guy versus their top guy. Who out of this list scares you the most in a postseason game?
I'm going to say deGrom and this kid Blake Snell. This kid is filthy. And of course, Verlander. Because Verlander, when he's on, is a scary dude.
He's unhittable.
Yeah, he's unhittable. I mean, Kluber has come up soft.
He's choked.
Kershaw has choked. Scherzer, he's got great stuff, but I still haven't seen him, I still haven't seen him kind of like convince me that he's all that. I mean, he's great, but I don't know. He still has to prove something to me. Garrett Cole, great arm, but he's come up soft in the postseason with the Pirates and even last year with the Astros. That's what I'm telling you. Like Verlander, he kind of turned the corner with the Astros. And this kid Snell, I don't know what he could do under pressure, but man, I knew he was good, and he is good. But deGrom, yeah, he's my top guy. He's my top guy.
In the playoffs, you think he's the top? You think you would be scared to face him over Mad Bum on a Game 7?
That's tough. That's tough. I mean, I don't know how good Mad Bum is right now. I mean, he's starting to slip a little bit.
Bum,
but in a big game,
comes up.
Now Mad Bum in the big game he's the top guy. I mean, he's the guy that you put him out there in a big game, he's scary. deGrom, I think, has that potential. And this kid, Blake Snell, he looks like a fearless kid. I spotted him a couple of years ago, man. I said, this kid can pitch, and he's funny. I've seen his personality. I like the kid. I like him a lot, and he's got some moxie on the ground, and he's a lefty. When you get a lefty that's tough, watch out. Something about those left-handers, they're a little weird. Personality-wise, they throw the ball different. The ball comes in at a different angle. I like that kid a lot. I like him a lot. He's a cool kid. He's the kind of kid I'd like to have a beer with.
Now, the old Yankee came back for half a seat. Was it a half or a full? I don't know. But David Robertson, he implodes in his first Phillies loss. Does that make you happy, or do you not hold grudges that he left? No,
I like David Robertson. D-Rob, I like him. He left once before. He left with the White Sox, and now he imploded with. I didn't see what he had with the Phillies. I was always rooting for him. I root for Extra. He's a true Yankee. He came up with the Yankees. I don't look at him as a traitor. He had a lot of big moments for us, and he saved a lot of games. So I root for Yankees. And David Robinson is a nice guy. I met him in the locker room years ago. He's a sweet boy. I saw him in his underwear. We were talking years ago in the locker room. But he's a nice guy. And I root for him. So I'm not against certain ex-Yankees.
So MLB, I think you've talked about it a lot, that it's a very unbalanced league right now. Like the American League, it's pretty much just 4 teams who are the predicted powerhouses, this and that. But first week, the Indians are 2-3, Astros are 2-4, Yankees, I think they won today, so they're 3-4. The Red Sox are 1-5. Is this actually good that they all kind of suck in the beginning, just to bring more teams into the mix for competition, or does this upset you?
No, I think it's good. I mean, because it's early. It's real early, and it's April. Everything will even out. Mark my words. Come May or June, all these teams that are 4-0 and 8-1 might be 30-40, So it will even out, and they will come back to earth, a lot of these teams. There'll always be a surprise team. Who knows? Maybe the Mariners surprised some people. They thought they gutted the team, and they've added some interesting guys. Maybe the Twins step up, and they've added some veteran guys, Nelson Cruz and Jonathan Scope, and So there's always a couple of surprises. Look at last year. No one thought the A's were going to win 95 or 97 games, whatever the hell they won. So there's always a couple of surprise teams. I don't know, the National League, I mean, the Pirates could be a surprise team. The Mets might surprise some people. Maybe the Mets will surprise. If the pitching holds up, who knows? I mean, the Braves are a young team. The Phillies have a lot of talent, but they haven't won shit. They haven't proven nothing. I think it's wide open in the National League. And listen, there's going to always be a couple of surprise teams. You got to see. Yeah, it's too early right now to jump off the bridge. It's too early to say, oh, this team is, even though, we get upset and even Yankee fans start throwing things. But in reality, it's April, bro. It's 162 games. It's a marathon. You got to breathe. It's like doing this podcast. It's a fucking marathon. I'm over here talking. You get tired. You run out of steam. You got to be prepared to go 15 rounds, 12 rounds.
But isn't that your job?
It is your job. That's why you got to be in shape. You got to be in shape. It's not who starts the race. It's like a horse that comes from behind. There was a horse, Forgo, a black horse. It was a dark black thoroughbred when I was a kid. He'd come from the back. My dad said, watch Forgo, Nicholas, Forgo. And he'd come on the outside, and he'd bust those horses up, And it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And it's true, even in life. Sometimes you start great, and then you fizzle out, and you go, what happened? I was winning, and now I lost. And that's why it's so hard, because it's a long season. It's a long journey. That's why I think they should do something about the postseason, because 162 games, and then you decide over one stupid game, you play for the wild card. We're playing for one game. I don't understand that. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I really do. MLB should fix it. Let me fix it.
The wild card game.
Yeah, let me fix it.
What do you want to do with it?
No, let's shorten the season. Let's make it a series. Let's make 2 wild cards, and let's have a real series. Let's have 3 games, 5 games. Let's decide it the right way. Anybody can win one game, bro. Anybody can win one game. It's not football where we play one game a week. We played 162 for one game. It's stupid.
So, to finish off your first ever solo podcast, you have anything to get off your chest? Anything that's been going on in your life? Anything that's been irking you a little bit?
There's a lot of things irking me. A lot of things bothering me.
What's been irking you? What's been bothering you?
I don't know. I'm looking at this poster over here. You see this poster? Let me show you something.
Yeah, hold it up. You're a strong guy.
Let me show you this poster. You know what bothers me? Is that I never get to go to this place anymore. I went back to New York. And I was in the Bronx. I just did a promo for my beloved team, the team that I love dearly, the New York Yankees. And I was shooting up and down the street in the Bronx, and I'm under the train tracks, and I'm looking at this empty lot, open field, all the memories of this stadium. Here's the original stadium. Look at that. That's the original ballpark I went to in '73, and then they refurbished this stadium. '76. I spent my whole youth there from 76 all the way to 2008. I took this guy there to the last All-Star game. I snuck him in, actually. We snuck in with George Steinbrenner. That's another story for another day. But, the fact that they knocked it down, the fact that they took it away, this new place, and they won one freaking championship. That's it, 2009, a token championship. We haven't done shit in that ballpark. But it feels very empty. It feels very cold. It feels very corporate, and it just does not have the same bite. It never had the same feel. It's like the house you grew up in. You know what that felt like in your basement. You know that feeling. And this place, I want to love it, but I don't love it. I don't love it. It says Yankee Stadium, but it doesn't always feel like Yankee Stadium to me. But what am I going to do? I'm a Yankee fan, so I got to go along with it. And I support it because, you have to go with the times. The seats are nice. The food is nice. But I miss the old place, and it's just something, I just feel like they shouldn't have tore it down. I would have kept it up. I would have found a way to refurbish it again, keep it on the same hollowed ground, and not move it across the street, not tear it down. I just feel like they lost something. There's something, even when I was out there in the Bronx, and I was looking and going, it just feels different, you know? I don't know what it is. It bothers me. I see the games that it's pushed back. The noise gets trapped in the old and got trapped in the old place. There's an echo in the place. It doesn't have the soul. It doesn't have that soul. And most Yankee fans, they know what I'm talking about. You know, they pretend like, yeah, this place is great, but it's not. It's not the same experience. You go to Fenway Park, you go to a place at Wrigley Field, you know that feeling, the same feeling. They didn't take that away, and we went too pretty, you know. And I feel like I wish it was just warmer. I wish it was warmer. I mean, I'm always going to be a Yankee fan. I'm always going to love the Yankees. I wish they wouldn't have tore down Yankee Stadium.
But it's the new stadium's really comfortable.
It is comfortable. It is comfortable. And listen, I'm there. I'm going to support you. I'm going to cheer for you. I'm always going to be a Yankee fan. But in my heart, I always feel like this is the home. You know what I mean? I'm going to miss this place. I miss this place so much. They took it away from me. But what can you do? What can you do? But I'm upset about it. But, you know, there's nothing. You have to go on. Life goes on. So, you know, we cheer for them in the new Yankee Stadium. That's what it's called, the new Yankee Stadium. But it's just, to me, you know what I mean? It's like you just don't tear down a cathedral. You don't tear it down. But what can I do? I mean, you know, I feel this way, but life goes on, right?
Yeah, and we're going to close it out. First podcast, final words.
Final words. It was a lot of fun. Great day. I enjoyed the day. I enjoyed the promo. It was fun.
We got some fun special guests coming too.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of fun people to come along for the ride, so I don't got to talk like a madman for an hour by myself. But I hope you enjoyed it. I had a good time. So.